Just like Thursday, the boat in trouble. This time, Elmora was able to wriggle off the hook with a minute 30 to go, and now they hold a favored position.
We're not going to have it. They go to it.
The game here is to get up to full speed. Kayard makes his move first, and he'll be going faster when the gun goes off.
Go down below the line. 20. 17. 14. 13. 4, 3, 2, 1, gun.
Another clean start and another good job by Dellenbaugh.
Well done, David. Well done, you all. Thanks for being here. I'm kind of glad I am here. It's been a hard row since the 5th of November. I didn't really think that I'd be celebrating my 71st birthday, having to worry about fluoride in the nation's drinking water again. I mean, the last time I experienced that was maybe when I was 11, 10. But here we are. I think, the struggle, the striving to thrive is a real thing. That's just what I want to make a few remarks about tonight. Yeah, it gets old. It gets old. You'll learn the absurdities of arguments over fluoridation in water, over minor little points that all add up to a great big point, which is, can democracy survive? Do we have to live in a society that surrenders to its fears over and over and over again? Do we? Seems like that's what we voted for last November. And I think a lot of people think the words, we must fight, 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 are going to mean much. They do, but they need to be executed well. They need to be actually backed up. If you're fighting for a people, if you're fighting for communities, if you're fighting for democracy, show those people that are important to you that you're fighting. You are fighting because they are. They're fighting every day to survive. Politicians who tell us that, I'm with you, be with us then. How many of us are six-figure people who don't have to worry about anything? I do think that to be a successful politician, you have to actually anchor yourself with people in some way, and usually emotionally. That's the only thing that explains Trump to me. Trump is good at figuring out what really disturbs people and then prodding that disturbance and then jumping in and saying, I'm going to solve that for you. And now we've got people who are going to solve all of America's problems by taking fluoride out of the water supply because somebody somewhere thought that the price of eggs was somehow, in some way, related to his precious bodily fluids. And it's the year of our Lord 2024. And in a very short few weeks, that guy is going to be in leadership. But I will give them credit. They fought. How did they fight? They fought dirty. Remember the old film, The Untouchables, and Sean Connery as uh, is going. It is going. They bring a club. You bring a knife. They bring a knife. You bring a gun. I mean, Chicago rules here. I haven't seen it being played in politics on my side of the aisle for a very long time. But you know what? If you value your six figures, or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10, you better get on the side of the ones who brung you. Better get on the side of those and really show the fight. Because as I said, we've been fighting. Cheers. I gotta look over the side chat here. Anarchic Fox, thanks for being here. PC, thanks for being here. Sterling Nash, love to see ya. There we go. I've been away from the YouTubes for a bit again, as I said, reflecting on a lot of this stuff and thinking it over and putting it in historical terms. And I'll be honest, I'm not real enthusiastic about the next 6 months, because unless we start seeing people actually fighting, we're going to see a lot of shit. Do you realize that it was only from January 1933 until May 1933 when uh, people went into a library for sexual research, pulled all the books out and burned them in the street? Only 3 months. It was May 6th, 1933. I don't need people either blaming me for this or saying that you fought to stop it when when I do see the former, I don't see the latter. So what we got to have here is all of us who are fighting, have been fighting, um, need to keep fighting. You know, in the end, it may be, it may cost us a lot for just being who we are. You know, God willing, it won't be, it won't take 13, 14 years for people to realize that they made a mistake, that they needed to fight. I don't know. And hopefully after that 13 or 14 years, it won't be, in world courts trying to tell people they were just following orders. All right. So I got to do this. let's see.
How many kids do you have now?
Oops.
There is one problem, and that is that a political partisan wedge issue was insisted on being included in this bill at the insistence of Republican leadership, not of the Armed Services Committee. And I think it's really problematic. The language seems somewhat benign. It basically says that minors experiencing gender dysphoria will not be allowed to receive any care that could lead to sterilization. And the problem is this is denying health care to minors who clearly need it. And the could language is very problematic because, as we all know, anyone who's watched the last 15 seconds of any pharmaceutical ad, if you take any medical treatment, a lot of bad things could happen. And the medical profession is always very careful about explaining all of those things to you. This could restrict the ability of minors experiencing gender dysphoria, access to puberty blockers, access to hormone treatment therapy, access to critical care that they need, and for no good reason. Now look, there is a reasonable question about what care should minors receive in this area. And we had floated the idea that if you want to look at this, if you want to ask the medical profession, what do you think? You know, what did the studies tell you about when this care is appropriate? But we didn't do that. We have an outright ban on care that undoubtedly is saving lives of minors experiencing gender dysphoria and the anxiety and depression and suicidal thoughts that come with that. Just today, I got a phone call from a constituent, daughter now 19, who was the parents were in the military service. She received this type of care when she was 10, 12, 11, 13 years old. She believes that it saved her life. We're now going to deny that care. And let me tell you that treatments for minors with anxiety and depression are very controversial, not just in the trans community. It's the trans community that we choose to focus on for partisan political reasons. I have concerns, having gone through an anxiety problem myself, with the number of antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication that are prescribed to minors. I think in some instances it is overprescribed and too quickly. But the other thing I know is that there are some minors who benefit enormously from that treatment. And I would never in a million years present a piece of legislation outright banning that treatment from any minor. And yet that's what we do here. We are doing it because of ignorant, bigoted reasons against the trans community. There is one problem, and that...
So yeah, there's a problem. More than one. But there's a solution. Address the fucking problems. Don't sweep them under the rug. Stand up there. Talk about it. You know, I appreciate my friend Jay's asking this question in a review of the people who are blaming us for their own cowardice. You know how many times Kamala Harris even made reference to trans people during the election? I think 2. Meanwhile, her opposition was mentioning it time after time after time after time after time in their little places on Fox News and with ad buys, legitimate ad buys. They were baiting you to defend us, and you didn't. And you know what? People like to vote for people who fight. They picked up that fight, and you wouldn't engage. And the people that were engaged in that fight lost a leader. That was your job. You were supposed to be a leader, and you failed at that job. Sorry. Don't go blaming the people that were telling you to lead, that were telling you to actually Look at the facts. Defend years of history, defend years of good practice, and defend the people you say you're defending. I want to see people doing that. I want to see people doing what Representative Adam Smith of Washington's 9th District did. Stand up and say it. Take the bait. Because we have to fight it every goddamn day. Come into our, how many of us has left Twitter, right? Tons of us have left Twitter. We've left, this is a program of forced dispossession. So if, what I'm asking, what I'm asking is, if you have a congressman like Adam Smith of the Washington's 9th Congressional District, support that congressman or woman or non-binary person. Or actually the trans woman who just got elected from Delaware. If you're really there, tell Nancy Mace to go piss up a rope. And do it, and when I say you, I mean you. You're her fellow Congress people. Stand with her. Don't make her do the work. She's done the work to represent us, and you say you want to, you defend us. So do it. It just doesn't go just for trans people. It goes for, look at what are the other issues? That's, well, you didn't, you weren't out there really, and then it got down to the price of eggs. I mean, the fuck. People do need to realize that if you look over the long history of American politics, we haven't been very smart. I think this particular era at the moment, we may be at our stupidest. Because you cannot have a society that thrives on grievance. And is really successful. I don't think. I mean, somebody's always going to be getting the shaft. Till we realize that there's a better idea is to try to work together to build a better society where everybody has a little bit of a chance, and we approach things realistically. We got to do stuff about climate change. We got to do stuff about, do you want to keep the species intact? You got to keep the species home intact, don't you? You think it'd probably be easier to do that without people like, oh, those people over there, get rid of those people. We won't have a problem with doing that. Well, you know what? That's kind of not thinking of the species entirely, is it? Anyway, personal note, I'm notes anyway. I've got at least got a roof over my head for a bit. Wait a minute. I don't need Elon Musk. Wait a second. Go away, Elon. Rid of that window. Um. I'm sorry. I've been so wrapped up in wrapped up in ranting, is tangled up in blue, wrapped up in ranting. I don't know what the fuck. Anyway, I've been neglectful of the side chat. So Anarchic Fox has been here earlier. Some folks showed up. Sterling Nash showed up. Captive Desk Dave, thank you so much for coming by. Good to see you. Sterling, your comment here, I got to show this. This is great. Some chemotherapy to treat pediatric cancer, like leukemia, may cause sterility. I know 2 people that had that complication. Does that mean they shouldn't have had chemotherapy? Right. That's the issue. That's definitely the issue. That's a big part of the issue, anyway. Yeah, let's see. Who else is here? Fox is here. Y'all are getting it. Y'all are getting it. I mean, I know I'm preaching to the choir, and I don't really expect anybody to come over here from without the choir. To continue to debate it because they think they've won. Let's just put it that way. They think they've won. Maybe it's my fault. Maybe it's just like I'm fucking sick and tired of talking to a brick wall. I mean, Doug, or your ilk. I mean, we can't really. There are people who have, upon my recommendation, gone and read the medical literature and say, "Hey, you're right," which is that's good. But it's no longer it's no longer a rational debate. It's like it's and there's so much misinformation. It's disappointing. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, I was. I've got a roof over my head for at least this month in January, and looking for stuff to do. I'm I wrapped up a very fun gig at Portland Yacht Services, decommissioning boats and working on restoring a small boat for the owner, which I got partway through, and then that dried up. But anyway, I'm good. I love living in town these days. It affords me the opportunity of actually getting out on my feet and walking around and seeing people. So that's been great. But I haven't been around the internets because it's been hard. And quite honestly, it's been more entertaining to walk in the rain. So I imagine Oz is still streaming. He had a stream going with Maya Atkinson and Jenna talking about these absolute mm, 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 bros, I guess I'd say. And it was pretty good. So I don't have a whole lot more to say for tonight. But I thought I'd throw a video up and see if anybody gave a shit anymore, or Tomorrow at 0:00 UTC. Well, actually, that would be 2 days from now. Thursday, I'm talking about. Thursday, the 12th of November. The transpositions will be on. And back, Carly Chardonnay Webb is back with sports. Got a whole bunch of good stuff lined up to talk about. And Bree will be there. I'm going to come up with something to yap at you about that'll be somewhat different than this, although probably run in the same directions. Because after all, we do cover the news and the sports, and we're looking for someone to cover the weather. So far, we've some of our candidates have turned us down, but we're working on that. Anyway, join us tomorrow at 8 Eastern for Bree McCune, Ember Belrad, myself, and Carly Chardonnay Webb for the Transpositions Weekly. We've got a lot of good stuff lined up and coming up for the next few shows. And also, Purple Rhymes with Orange has arranged for a tour around the globe with a bunch of YouTubers that's been going on for 8 years. Well, this will be the 8th year, I believe. And that is the Christmas Marathon, where different channels just forward to each other. They take a time slot, runs from the start of Christmas anywhere in the world to the end of Christmas anywhere in the world. And I can't remember those exact times, but it's basically 48 hours. Close to, anyway. So catch all of those. A whole ton of channels are going to be on it. The Transposition is going to do it. I'll be, and I'm sure that Ember and Breeze and Carly's. I'm sure all of our channels will be involved in that at some point in time, in some manner or fashion. But if you're around, if you need to pop in and see some, catch up with folks, hang out with folks, that's what that's all about. So looking forward to that too. Anyway, I think Oz, I don't know if Oz is still on PC. Is Oz still going? Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, if they are over there, that was a good stream going on. I highly recommend. And that's what the teacup, I think it is. That's Oz and Jenna's latest gambit. But stay tuned. I'll catch up with you all later. So yeah, hey PC, drop a link for Oz's stream, will you? That'd be great. I really appreciate it if you could. There we go. See you over there. Good night, folks. Wait, I gotta hit the button.